Imagine waking up to the news that a U.S. nuclear submarine, yes, a submarine that can strike silently and without warning, has just surfaced in the Caribbean Sea, right off the coast of Venezuela. Not only that, but it's not alone. Behind it are destroyers, marines, and amphibious ships, all suddenly on the move. Washington says this is about fighting drug cartels. But let's be honest, when a nuclear fast-attack submarine shows up, it's about more than just chasing speedboats. So, what's really happening here? Why Venezuela? And what does this mean for the future of the Caribbean? Stick around, because this is a story about power, pressure, and the kind of military flexing that can change the course of entire regions. Let's rewind to the first week of September 2025. The U.S. military has just sunk a vessel in the southern Caribbean. Not intercepted, not seized, sunk. On board, according to U.S. officials, members of the Venezuelan gang known as Tren de Aragua, a violent criminal network that's been spreading across Latin America. Reports say 11 people were killed. Now, this wasn't just some random drug bust gone wrong. The fact that Washington immediately tied this to Venezuelan networks, that's huge. It's the kind of move that instantly escalates things from law enforcement to military power play. And just hours later, reports confirm what everyone suspected: there's a nuclear-powered fast-attack submarine lurking in the area. Alongside it, at least 7 or 8 warships and amphibious ships full of Marines. The United States has ordered the deployment of a nuclear-powered fast-attack submarine to the southern Caribbean, escalating pressure on Venezuela as part of a wider operation against drug trafficking in the region. The move also includes the USS Lake Erie, a guided missile cruiser. Both vessels are expected to arrive off Venezuela's coast in the coming days. The USS Newport News, a Los Angeles-class submarine, is described by the Atlantic Submarine Force as the backbone of the United States Navy's submarine force, capable of engaging land, sea, and air targets with advanced weapon systems. Their deployment follows last week's arrival of the Iwo Jima Amphibious Ready Group, consisting of the assault ship USS Iwo Jima, the amphibious transport dock USS San Antonio, and the landing ship USS Fort Lauderdale. 3 destroyers, the USS Gravely, USS Jason Dunham, and USS Sampson, also reached waters near Venezuela earlier this week. In total, the latest U.S. buildup brings about 4,500 personnel to the Caribbean, including more than 2,400 Marines. The U.S. Southern Command said the deployments are intended to counter threats to U.S. national security posed by narco-terrorist organizations in the region. The Trump administration has framed the buildup as part of its broader strategy to curb drug trafficking routes into the United States. Tensions with Caracas have spiked to their highest levels since 2019, when diplomatic ties between Washington and Venezuela were formally severed. The White House recently doubled its reward for the capture of President Nicolas Maduro to $50 million, accusing him of leading the Cartel de los Soles, Cartel of the Suns. In response, Defense Minister Vladimir Padrino Lopez announced the deployment of Venezuelan warships, drones, and larger vessels to territorial waters. Caracas also submitted a formal letter to the United Nations, denouncing what it called heightened U.S. threats. Foreign Minister Ivan Gil handed the letter to UN official Gianluca Rampolla, accusing Washington of deploying offensive nuclear-capable submarines without transparency in violation of regional disarmament commitments. The letter urged the UN to demand an end to the U.S. deployment, seek clear and verifiable guarantees against nuclear threats in Latin America and the Caribbean, and convene a regional conference. Meanwhile, Venezuela's Interior Minister Diosdado Cabello announced the dispatch of 15,000 troops to the Colombian border, claiming that the move is a precautionary step amid rising tensions. President Maduro echoed his minister's warnings, declaring that no one touches Venezuela. He said he had activated all Venezuelan forces and national powers to defend the country from the illegal, immoral, and criminal threats of the American empire. Claiming that Venezuela's defense system was undergoing a dynamic reorganization and acceleration in deployment in response to the U.S. buildup. And here's the thing. This isn't just about Venezuela. The Caribbean is a strategic crossroads. The Panama Canal is right there, one of the most important shipping routes in the world. If that region goes unstable, global trade feels it immediately. And who else is watching? Russia, China, Iran. All of them have ties to Venezuela, and all of them want to see if Washington really has the will to defend its backyard. So when the U.S. sends a nuclear sub and a fleet of warships, it's not just a message to Maduro, it's a message to Moscow and Beijing too. Don't push your luck here. The U.S. Navy's move isn't just about drugs, it's about power, deterrence, and influence. The strike that killed 11 people was just the beginning. The real story is that a nuclear submarine is now sitting silently beneath Caribbean waters, unseen but always present, changing the balance of power in the region. The question is, what happens when Venezuela pushes back? Will this stay a game of cat and mouse at sea? Or are we watching the first steps toward a far bigger confrontation? And that's the story of the U.S. Navy's sudden showdown with Venezuela. What do you think? Is this really about stopping drug cartels, or is Washington sending a message to Maduro and maybe even to Russia and China? Drop your thoughts in the comments below because I want to hear your take. And hey, if you enjoyed this deep dive, don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe if you haven't already, and click the bell so you don't miss the next one. This is a story that's still unfolding, and trust me, you'll want to be here when the next chapter drops.